Hello everyone, welcome to Sound Espressivo. Sound Espressivo is a new generation of classical music competition which offers contestants to perform live in broadcast from their own location anywhere in the world. Sound Espressivo panel of judges represents top performing artists and music educators from around the globe. Sound Espressivo offers an unprecedented array of awards for musicians. Welcome to our podcast. Meet the judges, music promoters and managers, and music educators.
No matter where you are or who you are, music connects us all. We started with a dream, but now we are paving the future. Welcome to the Sound Espressivo Global Competition. Fully virtual, yet bringing musicians closer together than ever before, now on a global scale. True live, inclusivity, diversity, connection, community, an extraordinary array of judges. Get noticed by companies all over the world. Prizes, scholarships, performance opportunities. Apply to be a part of the most exciting congregation of artists like nothing you've ever seen before. We guarantee quality and leave no musician behind. We can't wait to hear you on the virtual stage.
And now I'm very proud to present our two distinguished guests, incredible musicians from different parts of the United States, joining us from California and from Midwest. And first, I would like to welcome to our virtual stage, Sam Magill. Welcome.
Hello.
So
Welcome,
wonderful
everyone.
to have you join. Where are you joining today from?
From Greensboro, North Carolina.
Okay, welcome, North Carolina.
Thank you.
And to make an intro, we would like to first offer your attention some of Mr. Magill's phenomenal cello playing. Stay with us. Oh my goodness, what an incredible collaboration with one of the most phenomenal pianists of our time,
Thank you very
Beth
much.
Levin.
Indeed, she is wonderful.
Uh, and this is a live performance. Oh my God, so
Oh,
powerful,
thank
so
you. And
deep, so
I'm so
profound.
pleased with the sonata. He wrote it for me 5 years ago, and I just love it. Fantastic music.
Amazing, and your interpretation of it is just stunning and so
Oh,
convincing, and I love every note Beth plays. I'm
oh,
biased, so
yes, me too. Well, then maybe uh, you could listen to our recording of the Kreutzer Sonata, the transcription, and that's
oh, I'm sure the people who are watching will be checking it out right now, and I will be checking it out after this podcast for sure. Now, Sam,
thanks.
as a cellist, your career flourishes in so many different capacities. You held principal positions with many orchestras, including associate principal cello with the Metropolitan Opera, among many others. And for a lot of people, that would mean just a full-time job and no energy for anything else. But as we saw from that recording of your collaboration with Beth Levin, you're a tireless chamber musician. You constantly work on new repertoire. You collaborate on recording projects on many labels with most incredible musicians of our generation. And you find time and energy to perform as a soloist. You form chamber groups, just to name a few of your projects. This is just such an honor for the Sound Espressivo and for the young generation of musicians to have an opportunity to meet with you and to hear from your experience how you keep this energy up and how you keep, the life of a musician so productive. Welcome.
Well, thank you very much. Yes, I always enjoyed doing as many different aspects of music as I could, because the job at the Metropolitan Opera Orchestra is exhausting and very time consuming. Operas are very long, and some of them are very difficult. But so, if you play chamber music on a regular basis and recitals or what have you, it really complements the job and it makes the job easier, honestly, instead of harder.
Isn't that an incredible twist? The more you do, the easier it is.
Right. That's right. Well, and also I was extraordinarily lucky, for example, to have been asked to learn the Vernon Duke cello concerto, otherwise known as Dukelski, and then the composer's widow came to me and said, "I would like for you to be the person to record it first," even though it was written for Piatigorsky, you know, 75 years ago.
But
And
there was
so
not a recording of it.
nobody had ever played it ever since Piatigorsky did in 1945. And so we traveled to Moscow and we recorded it for Naxos with Dmitry Yablonsky, the wonderful cellist conductor, and the fabulous Russian Philharmonic. It was a fantastic experience.
Incredible. So that's how doing more enriches your own life. I feel the same as a performer. Sometimes the project may seem daunting, and I can see a mountain of work and time which I would have to dedicate to that. But then take it step by step, and it actually invigorates me and energizes me. And like you said, the more we do, not easier, but more enjoyable it becomes,
More enjoyable, that's right.
and the better we get at doing it.
Well, that's right. And we had a wonderful contract at the Met. And by that I say we would have at least 10 weeks of vacation every summer, sometimes more, and gave me a lot of time to learn new music, such as the Arthur Schnabel unaccompanied sonata, which is a beastly thing. It's extremely difficult, but I thought, I've always been afraid of this piece, but I'm going to learn it. And I did. So,
Yeah, so you take the challenge. And
Yes.
well, thank you very much for this brief introduction of what you do and how you approach your profession. I would like to also introduce our second guest, not to mean that she's second, but that's the order of introduction. And welcome on our virtual stage, please, Micah Yui. Welcome. So good to have you.
Hello, nice to see
Yep.
you. And nice to meet you, Sam. That was a beautiful performance.
Thank you, Mika. It's nice to meet you too.
Yeah.
And you're joining us from.
Well, I got confused. I'm from Los Angeles, but during this pandemic, my family, we decided to take advantage of everybody being online. And so we rented a house in Sedona, Arizona. This is our second day.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so, it's been tough continuing on like this, but at least, we see beautiful mountains and we can take beautiful hikes and, still continue doing our online work. So that's what we're doing
That's
right now.
incredible. How you turned what can be an absolutely devastating, I mean, it is a devastating situation. Let's not pretend. But you find a way to complement your life with something good and stay active. This is incredible. I'm so grateful to you for joining us today, because moving the family from one state to another, and I don't know, I see that the frame behind you is very orderly. How did you do that?
Oh, well, I'm used to Zoom now, so we know how to set up the background now. Don't believe anything you see back here. I don't believe what I see back there, Anna. So, yeah. But, honestly, I don't, more and more as we continue through this pandemic, we're just more and more grateful for what we have, everything. We have no complaints. We're all healthy. We're all working. And it's just such a luxury that we can, just get in our cars and drive somewhere beautiful and be in nature, and our hearts just truly go out to people who are experiencing devastating losses. So we have no complaints. I have no complaints at all.
You're an international artist, so your education and your upbringing spans throughout world cultures, from European traditions to Canadian to Japanese to American. I mean, that's already the entire world. You carry musical and pianistic traditions as diverse as being a student of both Leon Fleischer and Bela Davidovich, and they come from completely different worlds of piano traditions. As an educator, you're a tireless supporter of the next generation of musicians. And what strikes me is you're not only focused on preparing your students for professional careers in performing arts, but you're a true ambassador of classical music. You also bring your superb artistry to communities. You make yourself accessible to people who may not be aiming at professional careers in music, but you bring your absolute best and the absolute richest of your tradition, your bringing, your experience to everyone. You make yourself just so accessible to people, and this is an incredible gift. And we're so grateful that you made yourself accessible to the Sound Espressivo too, and joined us.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much. Well, it's. Of course, when I was young, all I wanted to do was play solo, play Carnegie Hall. I think that was all of our kind of not very well thought out ambitions. But now that I'm much older, I have a teenage daughter of my own. It's very difficult for me to not think bigger than myself. And though piano is all I've really been trained in, I feel like through music, I'm able to realize my passion for social work, for education, for just thinking about the community. And it's true, in my studio, I have a wide range of students. Some will go into top conservatories. I also know that I have a lot of students who will definitely not become musicians. But to me, especially during this pandemic, I feel the importance of music to human beings in general. And I do feel like my own performance and those of my friends who are performers, it's been very difficult to manage that, I think, during this time. But when it comes to educating students, teaching them online, it has been nothing but positive, actually. I feel like students have much more time, and that I've seen evidence that music has brought them a sense of purpose, and it's given them, they don't realize it, but it's been healing for their soul. And all my students have improved tremendously during this time.
That is so true. I am teaching a full studio too. And I'm a performing pianist, but teaching is a very essential part of my everyday life. And I've noticed the same thing. Kids are not stuck in the cars driving from one place to another through rush hour traffic, so they have more time in their hands. And amazingly to me, many of them are dedicating a lot more time to practicing and find it a solace. And they develop new ambitions because they see themselves progressing more. For my studio, this turn of events, we were able also to make the most out of it. And I don't want to say it's me, but it's students and their parents as well who are definitely stepping in.
I have found that, especially when it comes to middle school, high school students, because I teach actually pre-college students. That's actually my passion. That's the age range I enjoy teaching very much. But during the year, everybody's so busy, they're being shuttled around and they're overwhelmed with academics and sports and whatnot. But during this time, everybody is stuck at home. So there's this sense of ability to have time, focus, just really think about what music is, what they want music to sound like. I actually just had a studio class yesterday, and I found everybody just is really enjoying it. I feel like it's been a little bit of a break from their daily just online school that they're doing. And I couldn't be more proud of my students. And it's really taught me much, much more the deeper meaning of music and what it's meant to be. Of course, some of us are going to be wonderful international artists and, play
but
on
we
big
don't all
stages.
have to be in order to connect with music. And I want to bring Sam back. Sam, if you're ready, because this brings us to the question where I want to bring up the performing. Because for me as a teacher, and I also love teaching pre-college age students, just like you, Micah, I find motivation to practice a lot of times is connected with some real practical goals coming ahead. I just yesterday had my full studio recital dedicated to the technique. And everybody knew the date, everybody knew it was coming, and we did it virtually on virtual concert halls platform, same platform we're going to be using for the Sound Espressivo competition. And of course I noticed an obvious uptick in practicing and goal-oriented, more focused, more mindful practicing in my students. So, and for me, when I was a student, this was essential. To have a goal, to have a performance looming ahead. It was both scary and motivating and exciting. So in new situation right now, how do you see for us as educators to include the performing aspect in our teaching? Do we, because a lot of people turned to the recording as a substitute while we can't have public performances. What we're doing here with the virtual concert halls and the Sound Espressivo, we are providing a virtual platform. So what's your take on it?
I would love to start performing online. I have not actually done that yet, but I find now I have much more time to start learning new pieces than I did before. So I'm looking forward to that very much. I don't actually have any students right now. In all these years, I've really only had just a few because I never had time. But I love teaching, and I hope to start doing that a lot.
Wonderful. So you'll be starting your own studio and performing online yourself, and probably, would I say, encouraging the students to learn online performing as well?
Yes, definitely. I started a new website called greensborocellolessons.com. And also, this is also with the idea of orchestral audition coaching. Even though there are no auditions right now, there will be. And it's a
Interesting.
good time to start learning those excerpts, and I can help.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Of course you can. So, Mika, to you.
Yes, I'm speaking today as, by no means an expert. I'm learning along with everybody else. I feel like, human beings are resilient and creative. And, this has been a challenging time, but I think that we all find a way to just around, our limitations and find a way to reach audiences. And this espressivo competition is a perfect example. I know everybody's complaining that we can't be all together physically, but I think there are so many advantages, actually. I mean, how amazing is this? I mean, Anna, you're in, the East Coast, and Sam's in South Carolina. I'm here on the West Coast. This competition can easily bring people from all over the country together.
Well, and yesterday on the yesterday's podcast, we had the opera singer Diane Martinovich
I caught
joining
that.
from Paris.
Amazing, with wonderful sound, I must say.
And
Yeah.
we were able to bring that sound from anywhere in the world.
It's
And,
wonderful.
Wow.
like, let's use it.
I can't tell you how much I was looking forward to seeing and talking to you today, because, we've all been stuck at home not being able to see people, and, how wonderful it is that we can be live like this. But, I think people are finding a way. What I've noticed also with performance, because I teach at the Colburn School, and we have had these Friday night recitals. It's a weekly recital where students perform and they get immediate feedback from the so-called judges, kind of like Sound Espressivo. But it works really well. I think students are still getting the same feeling of a live performance. They're feeling adequately nervous, they're preparing, and they're still presenting something. What I've noticed catching performances myself online and trying some myself is that maybe we need to switch it up, like maybe not have such long performances online, because I think people's attention span is not as great when we're all staring at the screen. So adapting to that, and maybe switching up the repertoire. Maybe it's hard for us to sit through entire Beethoven Opus 111, for example. Maybe we need to go back to the olden days where we play little snippets, and I don't know. And I know that different organizations have been doing cocktail hour,
That's right.
on Zoom, things like
And
that.
that's interesting you pointed out. Maybe we need to go back to the times when our music was more accommodating to our audience, as opposed to imposing. Okay, well, if you don't have stamina to listen to 32 sonatas by Beethoven in a row, then, well, you're just so uneducated, too bad. So that attitude is being replaced now with a much more openness of musicians to embrace, because it's just so simple at this point. If we're performing online, and if someone is less than interested, they just switch out. We can't keep our audience captive in the concert hall. So we find more real ways to connect.
If I want to try out a new piece or new program, I can just ask some of my friends to click onto Zoom, and I'll give them a little impromptu performance or something. It's just, in some ways, it just makes it very easy and casual and accessible, maybe more fun for the audience.
That's great. I really believe in resurrecting short pieces and
Yes.
popular favorites.
Yes.
I think that's a wonderful idea, and I would love to start doing that myself, because you don't hear Valse Sentimentale by Tchaikovsky anymore. Nobody plays these things on recitals. And just like you said, with orchestras, it's if it isn't a Mahler and a Shostak or a Shostakovich symphony, you don't get to hardly hear it anymore. I mean, whatever happened to Scheherazade? I mean, just
Exactly.
things that people really enjoy.
Exactly. And that also speaks volumes about what people actually watch on YouTube. What recordings get a lot more attention. That's what people want to hear. And
Yeah.
the live performance of the same piece is never going to be the same as a preserved recording. Now, that also brings me to the question about the recordings, vice versa, live performances. There's, of course, a lot of discussion about that. And performing musicians naturally turned to recording and uploading our videos when the venue is closed, and we realized we are in that situation probably a bit longer than a couple of weeks. And so the having limited access to live audience, the natural step was, okay, we'll just reach our audience with recordings. But recording one's music has its pros and has its cons, and it's, to me, not a conflicting concept to live performance. So how do you feel, because this competition we're all in is focused on live performance. There's no pre-recorded rounds, no requirements to record anything. Contestants just come online and perform in front of the judges live. So how do you feel about those?
Well, I love live performance. I think it's, there's no no replacing that. I think, however, there are certain pieces I probably wouldn't attempt live. I would rather, if they're extremely difficult, maybe I'd rather record them. But other than that, I think it's fantastic. Now, there is the problem of, I'm new to Greensboro, North Carolina, so where do I find a pianist and how does that work? That's a challenge. I'm not sure the answer to that. I mean, can you rehearse? How do you rehearse? I don't know. Mika,
Well,
do you have
there's
any?
a large community of musicians, and we're involved with, I want to say, probably about 100 plus professional musicians from around the world as testers. And there's also a large community of software developers who are working on solving the problem of latency. And in fact, tomorrow we're going to have a podcast with Mikhail Shostak, who is also on our judges panel, and he's an organist. We had a program a few months ago we did with him and another violinist on latency. Latency is a big problem for musicians to rehearse together in real time in this setting, the internet setting. But there is a lot of development. And from my understanding and testing the latest samples of newly developed software, we're just a few months away from being able to play with each other on a virtual platform without experiencing disturbances of the latency. It's not that the latency will ever go away completely, but the latency is present in the concert hall too. If
Could
you are
you?
in the last row of violins, you will not hear the tuba immediately. There is a time the sound travels.
I see what you mean. Because I was going to ask you, my question was, what is latency? Could you
Oh, it's a
explain
delay
that?
of the yeah. It's a delay of when you hear the sound vice versa when it was produced.
Okay. And
Delay
what about
between.
the problem of like when I did have one student and I could not play along with him because we cancel each other
No,
out.
you can't.
It's
Well,
just not possible. No.
now that is on Zoom. However, on this platform, which I'm going to promote right now,
I'll
on this,
Okay.
promote it for you.
yes,
Yes.
on this platform, yes, we can do that, and we had several musicians who experimented and played duets in real time. We had two guitarists who did that, and we had a guitarist and a singer. Guitarist was in London, the singer was in Jerusalem. And they were part of one of our programs, and they performed live on this platform without canceling each other's sound. This
Fantastic.
this is a fantastic development which we already have, and television networks had been using similar platforms. These are professional software for broadcasters for a number of years. And of course, there are challenges involved. People need to learn production, and we have producers who learned the skill. But sound-wise and picture-wise, we're able to deliver beautiful sound, which truly represents musicians' artistry.
Well, that is great news. I did not know this. Fantastic.
Yes, and that brings me to, I would like to show a short video. It's under 1 minute, which describes what virtual concert halls does and had been doing since the beginning of the pandemic. It's a creation of a collaborative effort of professional musicians. We put together our efforts to create a virtual stage which would adequately portray and deliver the musical performance, because video calls such as Zoom and many others are a good tool in the interim, but the quality of the music, of course, and the sound suffers in those platforms. So we worked together with the Kennedy Center, with different teams from different countries, with software developers, and this is the result of that work, and ability to provide this for the Sound Espressivo.
Wonderful.
Thank you. And
Really?
the sound which you hear is the actual real sound which contestants will experience when they will perform. And Sam, you had not had a chance to perform live through this technology and systems, but Micah, you did.
Is it okay if I rave about you a little bit?
Please.
Okay.
More than okay.
Well, so when you emailed me about the Sound Espressivo competition, I think if I had known nothing about virtual concert halls or you, I would have been a little bit hesitant to get involved because I would have had no clue. But knowing it was run by you, you created it, I jumped in, eyes closed, no problems, with such confidence and trust that it was going to be tremendously successful. It's by accident that I met Anna and experienced the virtual concert hall platform because she produced the Leon Fleischer tribute. I was so blown away by how it was run. I think, what people don't see is what happens in the background. I mean, they spent an hour with us checking our sound and, just optimizing everything, even before today's broadcast. It's unbelievable the amount of expertise and work that they put into producing this. I actually hired her when I ran a piano seminar. We did our final recital through them. We had students from all over the world. There was a girl in China who could never get great sound from Zoom, but virtual concert halls was able to, get great sound quality from her. Anna and her team, and I'm not just saying this, I truly believe this. They're tremendously forward-thinking, creative, just perfectionists. And, going back to the difference between live and recorded competitions, I have students, myself as well, we have no interest in competitions where everything is by recording. It's not the same as live. I think that this Sound Espressivo is going to be really fun for the students. I can imagine it would be a little bit nerve-wracking for people who don't know what it's about, but I promise it's going to be, I think, very enjoyable for everybody, students and teachers, the judges. I actually am having a couple students of mine compete. My daughter's a cellist, so Sam, maybe you'll hear her. She's going to be competing. I think it's a great opportunity for students to get motivated, to prepare for something, and to do something enjoyable on a live platform, and knowing that it's going to be excellent sound quality. So there you go.
I really look forward to hearing her. I can't wait. Wonderful.
Thank you, Micah. This is just wonderful. Thank you for praises. We enjoy doing this, and we feel like creating the confidence that, yes, musicians, we can connect with others, we can connect with each other. Yes, we can connect with our audience. Yes, we can continue to perform no matter what happens with the world, in the world. We just need to find other ways. And we in the virtual concert halls team, and I can't even say it's a small team anymore, because just so many people are pitching in and adding their energy and expertise to this. It just feels like a good thing to do.
It's so perfect, and you did this so quickly. It's been so impressive, and I'm putting my money on your team to come up with the latency problem, solving it.
Well, we can't solve it, but we can help the developers solve it the way musicians want to solve it. Mm-hmm. Because, different industries, of course, are looking for solutions too. But as musicians, we want to preserve the quality of the sound first and foremost. And for the sound delivery to be sensitive enough so that it can deliver the differences in the colors. And so that's our focus. And that's really important for the software developers to hear it from us, because we will be their first clients. We will be using those new available softwares. And I wanted to also ask a few more questions from a perspective of a student or auditioner. And you, of course, both competed and auditioned and done it a lot of times, and it can be a daunting proposition. So Sound Espressivo is aiming to produce the competition sessions in a very lively format of a television show. It's very different from conventional competitions where everything is very strict, very prescribed, and very organized in a very predictable manner. Here, in this setting, for instance, the judges will not be isolated from the contestants. I judged so many competitions where the judges are not even permitted to speak with the contestants. Here, the judges will be giving contestants immediate feedback, not the decisions. Of course, decisions will be announced later, but the immediate feedback, encouraging students to look for to further their study. And so there will be this interactive aspect. Also, the contestants will be able to will be interviewed by our hosts. We'll have more than just me, but there will be several hosts who will conduct interviews with the students and the judges and the music promoters and the managers who are offering the prizes. So we plan to create this interactive environment. So how do you think that perspective would be for students?
Shall I?
Yes, please.
Okay. Well, I think I can't think of a better way to do this, because, just to put people at ease and to break the ice, as it were, is a wonderful way to get people playing at their best. Whereas you walk out into, an empty auditorium with just a few people out there, and it's meant to be intimidating, and if you're supposed to prove your toughness by overcoming that. But sometimes I wonder, well, what's the point of that really? Does it have anything to do with music? So I am so thrilled about this, Anna.
And I totally agree with Sam. Having been doing this for so long and having gone through the competition scene, it's all terrifying and austere. And right, what is the meaning of that? I agree. And if there's an example with you of, creating something creative during this difficult time, you just had these ideas. I think it's a fabulous idea. It's something fresh. It's something different. It's something that is light when, things are a little bit heavy, especially right now. I think the classical music scene needs a little refreshing. So I think it's fantastic, and I really hope that students who might be interested in competing, they'll never really know what it's like until they do it, but I want them to really understand that it's supposed to be something enjoyable, nothing scary.
Yeah, really, yeah.
Yeah.
And like we were while we were preparing to go live with this podcast, I think one of us mentioned that we've had, as professional musicians, enough experience with being put under tough circumstances unnecessarily. We don't want to extend it to the next generation of musicians. We want to make them feel welcome to express themselves freely and to the best of their ability, as opposed to put this magnifying glass of judgment in them.
Ultimately, our goal is to communicate the music to the audience. So, we should try to make them feel as comfortable and at ease so that they can really, communicate what they freely would like to, so we don't need to put that extra stress and pressure on them. It should be an enjoyable experience for everybody involved, I think. They put enough work anyway at home practicing. So the actual performing part should be something enjoyable.
A celebration.
And hopefully not like that Hollywood movie made in the 1980s called The Competition. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but it's just, oh my God.
We don't even have enough time to review that movie, Sam.
But one thing I wanted to ask Sam to review, because there's another aspect of performing live. We're performing essentially in front of the camera. But of course we know there are people behind these cameras. And we may not know how many, we may not know who they are and where they're from. It's not like in a physical hall, they're all from that locale. But here, someone in Indonesia may be watching us at the moment, and from Russia, and from France, and from completely different parts of the world. And you mentioned something which sounded to me like you may have a good insight about what it feels like. Tell us about that audition.
That's right. Yes. Well, I auditioned many years ago for principal for solo cello of the Liceu Opera in Barcelona. So I flew to Barcelona from New York, and I had a terrible cold. I mean, nothing was going well. But anyway, I didn't, for those of you who don't know what an orchestra audition is like, there's a big screen between you and the jury, so that there's no discrimination, hopefully. However, I walked back there, and then to my shock, there were at least 50 people sitting on folding chairs right behind me. No one told me about this in advance, but evidently this is how things are done in Spain. Well, I mean, all I can say is you really have to very suddenly pull yourself together. So,
well, at least with the Sound Espressivo, the contestants will know that it's expected people will watch.
Yes, and I've got to say I don't think that this is a very fair process in Spain, because what's to prevent someone from running back after you play and running across the screen on the other side of the screen and telling them who I was, but anyway, that's another story.
That is true too. So as judges of the Sound Espressivo, of course, we are creating this concept as we go, and musicians are pitching in, and it's maybe the 50th of the Sound Espressivo competitions will have a very preset format. Here we're creating it together, but there are a few things which are different, obviously very different from the judging experience we're more used to. For example, the judges will not be giving points to the contestants and relying on algorithms to pick the winner. the judges panel will be deciding the winners collegiately together through the discussion. What do you think about that concept as a judging?
Please go ahead.
Okay. Well, I think there probably has always been a reason why the point system and algorithms needed to, be done. But I have great trust in your choice of judges. I can already sense that we are all very fair, friendly people. And I think, this competition, it doesn't feel like your typical, just very serious, austere kind of competition. It's more of a creativity thing. I actually think it's great. I don't think. I think it's nice. I think it's going to be really nice. I've just from gathering, just getting to meet the judges through the broadcast and knowing some of them. It'll definitely be different, but I think positive. That's my feeling.
I agree. I like the idea of collaboration with each other. I mean, among the jury, and then to discuss and come up with a consensus of who may be their favorite musician. So that's great.
And another question that we get a lot from people who are planning on applying and those who did apply already, and that is about the choice of the repertoire. Now, conventionally for, 100 plus years, music competitions prescribed the repertoire. And funny enough, this produced both a pushback. Musicians would say, well, that's too restrictive. At the same time, as we find out, musicians are longing to be given instruction. So it's both. The pushback towards more creative freedom, and at the same time saying, well, oops, maybe not so much creative freedom. So the Sound Espressivo is trying to strike the balance in there in opening the competition for any choice of the repertoire. And we promise we're going to hear everyone's presentation fully to the end. We're not going to interrupt the composer's thought or the performer's thought in the middle. And but at the same time, we guide the contestants to choose the repertoire according to the categories where they want to be nominated. Obviously, if someone is leaning towards a miniature category, they will not be picking Beethoven's sonata for that. But at the same time, as teacher, Micah, and as a performer, both of you as performers, what are the advantages and what is attractive in the situation where you're not prescribed the repertoire, where you are the one in charge of the repertoire choices?
Shall I speak?
Yes, please.
Okay. Again, my mindset is more about the current times, how things are different, and this is a virtual competition. And this could be my own personal views, and it's not reflective on how other people think about it. Having experienced viewing several online performances and things, I think my recommendations to students, first of all, would be to always be aware that it's essentially TV, right? It's not a live performance. So I'm hoping that students can be mindful of who will be watching and in what format, meaning that we might be able to sit through a 2-hour live performance of some profound music, which may not really be great, online. So pick your repertoire accordingly. The other thing, which might be kind of silly, but actually it's a real thing, is to think about your background, how you're presenting. It's TV, right? So, even with my students, whenever they perform, I make them just make sure they clear out the background. Don't have, music lying around, because it is it's still a visual experience, and so, and also sound quality. And I know that you recommend all these, have all these wonderful suggestions on how to optimize sound quality, but ultimately, if you have two students who play equally well, but one has a beautiful, clean background with great sound, we're humans, and it's really a visual experience. It's a live performance. So I think these things matter. And then,
Absolutely.
And going back to your repertoire choice, how I feel about that, I think it's wonderful. I think it really shows who the performer is, instead of, some kids might have to be forced to play repertoire that they're not comfortable playing. But I think this will really reveal who they really are as musicians. So I think it'll be really refreshing and interesting to see what they come up with.
I do too, and I'd like to tell people about my very first orchestra audition. Was the very first one that I actually won for the Houston Symphony, and they let us choose whatever solo concerto we wanted to play before we get onto the orchestral excerpts.
Oh wow, that doesn't happen too often.
No, it doesn't, and it's wonderful because you have this freedom. Well, but still you have to be careful. What do you pick, right? It can't be too easy. It can't be too this or that. So I chose the first movement of the Prokofiev Sinfonia Concertante, which is a gorgeous, soulful Russian movement, but it's all about big, bold sound and drama, And
That's
I think that I believe that I won that audition because nobody else played that.
Is that interesting?
Something different, not just the Dvorak concerto over and over and over. Gosh, enough already.
Yeah.
So don't bore the judges.
Yeah,
That's a very good suggestion. We actually had that discussion. Oh my goodness, someone came back to us and said, oh my goodness, if you open up the competition and say that people can play as long as they want to, you're going to be swamped with endless programs. So we turned to consult with a psychologist who works with performing artists. And the interesting feedback she gave, and I would never thought of it, the interesting feedback she gave us to the question, we said, well, maybe we should limit younger kids 15 minutes, older kids 30 minutes or something. She came back and she said, if you say a time limit of any sort, the psychological tendency of human beings and the artists especially to fill your limit to the brim. If you say 60 minutes limit, you're going to have 60 minute after 60 minute after 60 minute performance. But if you open it up, then the first thought, oh, yippee, I can play for an hour. But the second thought will be, I'll play for an hour, I'll bore everyone to death, people will start clicking around on their screens, and then the next contestant comes in and puts together the most exciting diverse, interesting program in 10 minutes. Who's going to win?
And it's true, because I've been guilty of that, playing competitions myself. If there's a time limit I have to fill, sometimes, I don't have enough time and I'm just trying to figure out, what can I fill that time with? And, really has nothing to do with creativity, right?
Exactly.
It's just about filling the time. So, yeah, it's great.
Yep. So, and I have about 15 more questions and no time left. And I know you both are really busy, so we have to meet again. Right here on air, on live stream, I'm going to twist your both arms. You're such fabulous guests. Please give me a promise that you will be back again on our podcast, because I'm serious. I have at least a dozen more questions which I didn't get a chance to ask you, and I would like to ask you.
Oh, I would be very happy to. Absolutely.
And Anna, I could speak to you for hours. It's always enjoyable. You're a wonderful host, so
yes,
thank you
definitely.
so much for having me.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you both so much. And at this time, we are building this tradition. If you don't mind, would you please share a message which you would like to convey to our contestants? And we are getting applications already, and to their teachers who will be working hard in helping their students prepare for Sound Espressivo. So I'm going to put you in order in solo mode. That's how the contestants will see themselves when they're about to step on the stage and present their program. And please speak to our future contestants. Sam, would you like to be first? You were first to be introduced in the program.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
hello, contestants. I wish you all the very, very best of luck in all your endeavors. Very, very pleased to be on the jury for this wonderful competition. I would like to assure you that you will be in a welcoming and very safe environment, and I think it's going to be enjoyable as opposed to most competitions. I think we're going to really enjoy ourselves. So just play what you love and just play your hearts out.
Thank you, Sam. I'd like to enter the competition after a message like that.
Me too.
Very welcoming. Micah, please.
Hi, students and teachers. First of all, I would like to commend both of you for working so hard during this very difficult time when I'm sure that most of you have been working online. So already by entering this competition, I'm tremendously, I admire your work and I'm so impressed by what you have done so far, even before hearing you. Like Sam said, I would like you to use this experience as just expressing what you've been working on this whole time, just to show us what you've been doing. And I promise that everybody listening to you, we're all on your side. We want the best from you, and we want you to just have a good time. So no stress. Have fun.
Thank you
Great.
very much. Yes. Have fun. Express our love for the music. It's the
Really.
best we can do.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
And thank you both very much. It was just such a pleasure and such an honor to have you on our program. And I had a great time. I really
Thank you
enjoyed
so
it.
much. And Anna, congratulations again for creating this. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna.
We'll see you again.
Okay.
And with this, I would like to thank our audience, our viewers, and we will be back again tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.